So welcome everybody, this is part 2 of the rock tumbling video, and we're going to be going through a lot of these rocks, not all of them, but a lot of them. We're going to start off with some of the rocks that did not tumble too well, then we're going to look at some various different types of rocks like petrified wood here, green tree there, some apidote. There's a whole bunch of different stuff here, and going to look at the ones that turned out the best. I'm going to take a look at the ones that may have not turned out the best, but they were my favorites just because how the rock looks. So I hope you all enjoy what's coming, and let's get to it. Okay, so before we get to the rocks, we'll discuss the Thumler's tumbler here. Now this is a 15-pound capacity tumbler. Overall, I was quite pleased with it. Didn't really leak too much. It actually didn't leak at all. It works fine, just as long as you keep it oiled. What I usually do is this little point right here. I just kind of like angle it in and drop it in there, then a little bit. You kind of look where the center part down in here where the turny thing, whatever you call it, is going in, and you oil it there. Also, you're going to want to oil these bushings here on both sides. Easy to operate, and all you do is plug it in and turny. Let's unplug that. So the last thing I like about this, and it has a large capacity. I mean, 15 pounds, you can put in a whole bunch of rocks. Get a lot done, in the same amount of time it would have took just to get a little amount done and smaller tumblers. But now going on to the dislikes, the large capacity is actually as well as a dislike. I like it because you get a lot of rocks, but it's also a lot of work. And so that's one thing. It's going to take a lot more material, so you're going to have to start out with a whole bunch more rocks because, as you tumble, the rocks get smaller. You need to replace the rocks. Well, when you get a whole bunch of rocks getting smaller, you have to replace a whole bunch of rocks, and it goes through a ton of grit. So those are a couple of dislikes. Like I said before, easy to operate. You just plug it into the wall. But I really wish they had an on-off switch. I wish it was more than just plugging in. So the last thing I don't like about this is that it's noisy. From out of here, it's supposed to, other tumblers are going to be a lot noisier. This one has rubber lining on the inside, and so that helps with some of the noise, lessens it a little bit. But it's still noisy. I have to keep it in my downstairs bathroom with the door closed, otherwise the cats will freak out. So that is what I got to say about this tumbler. I would recommend getting it. If you're willing to put in the extra work, if you want to get a little more output, go ahead and buy a tumbler like this. So to start things off, I thought I would go over some of the rocks that did not tumble so well. So one of the disappointing rocks here is this Coquina Jasper. And very disappointing. This stuff looks really neat. Here's a few examples. I'll get this piece here wet for you. Yeah, that stuff is just really cool. But it didn't tumble well. Maybe I just messed it up myself, or maybe it's the rock itself. But when I went about tumbling this, it came out of the first stage, and it came out basically kind of like this, as it looks right now. So I thought, well, this stuff tumbles pretty easily. It's already ready for the next stage, and I think it went through the following stage and kind of looked about the same. But then in the stages that came afterwards, they just looked dull. Very disappointing. So that's Coquina Jasper. Then you got this stuff here. This is Kumbaba Jasper. Really cool patterns on this stuff. One of these, out of all these, one of them turned out really well. The rest were just like this. So Not that great. Piece of Mary Ellen jasper. I was really hoping this was going to turn out. It's a beautiful rock, but it just has a lot of bad parts, fractures. And so here are some examples of Montana moss. Actually, I have a lot more, but I just thought I'd show you some of these better pieces. Nice and shiny. I like this one. I mean, it's not perfectly smooth, but I kind of like that pattern. I don't know, maybe that's what they call the mossy part. That one actually is really neat. I like that one. So here's 3 different examples I like to show you, 3 different types of rocks. Just so you can know how they tumble. This here is epidote. Epidote seems to turn out pretty well. And I picked this up in Upper Peninsula, Michigan. You can find a lot of epidote there. I really like it. And this stuff is called OE Picture Jasper. I really like the way this turned out. Not perfect, but this stuff just has the coolest patterns. I got this stuff from a rock shop in Wisconsin. I think that's where I got it. I could have got it in a rock shop in Minnesota too, but I think it was Wisconsin. It's called the Gem Shop, if you're interested. A little rougher piece there, but I mean the patterns on these are just incredible. And this part looks like it, you know, it's probably like scratch up, but it's actually how the rock looks. So this stuff here is actually petrified wood. And what's interesting about these is that all these pieces originated from one piece of petrified wood. Here, let's show you some of this. Really neat patterns, kind of rough on some parts. But I just thought it was kind of cool how you can have all this variety within one rock. So I started out by just chopping up the piece of petrified wood I had. So you go from like this dark stuff here to like this light colored stuff. This is one of the better pieces. Nice and shiny. Well, I'm going to put these away and we'll take a look at some more. So next I have what I believe is the rocks that tumbled the best. I have some more elsewhere that I'll share later that are one of my favorites, because some of my favorites aren't the ones that necessarily turn out the best. You know, they may have a little scratch here or there, but the rocks themselves are really cool. We'll start off with these. This is some of the better red jasper that turned out. Now, I love red jasper for one. There's plenty of it. Two, it really seems to tumble quite well. These things are just like really smooth. This one's a slightly different color. This is about the best piece of moss agate, the best piece that turned out. These little kind of like bits are more on the inside. I think this one's kind of like almost fish shaped. Look at the little fish. Okay, that was done. Anyways, fancy jasper. Fancy jasper, I had quite a bit that didn't turn out, but a lot of it did turn out well. And There's a lot more that turned out okay than what I'm showing here. This is just the best pieces. So I'd probably tumble this stuff again. I didn't think it was too bad. And here is the best piece of Kumbaba jasper that turned out. And it actually turned out to be one of the best ones in the whole lot. Now I'm not going to buy this stuff again for tumbling. You know, I might try and polish this on the flat lap at some point. Not this particular one, of course, but you know, a different one that is not polished yet. But anyways, I think these are Swazi agates. This one has like a really cool like green stuff going on. Who doesn't like green stuff, right? Kind of like this one. Looks like it's staring at you. Right on one side and an eyeball on the other. I think these are all Swazi agates. I am not, you know, I'm not actually 100% for sure on that. And we got some Muka jasper that turned out really well. Muka jasper, for the most part, is a pretty good rock to tumble. Nice variety of colors. This one has some red going on there. So a lot of these rocks, by the way, I got from, you know, rock shops. This and Fancy Jasper, they both came from a place called the Gem Shop in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. And these are kind of like a variety of different things. This is actually one of my favorite rocks too. I have no idea what this is actually. Turned out really well. Here's just I don't think this is like the red jasper that you usually find. Now I really actually dig these white rocks like this. You got one little imperfection there, but that turned out pretty well. Now these are a couple of pieces of Royal Imperial jasper. Again, I got these as well from that rock shop in Wisconsin. This is actually, I love this stuff. It's spendy, it really is, but it is so cool. This almost looks like it's like a wood pattern in here. And sometimes some of the better ones are actually little itty bitty things. Just a little agate there. I believe that's Lake Superior agate. No idea what this stuff is actually. I just kind of think it's cool. This is actually not imperfection here. It's just part of the rock. It's kind of neat. This I think came from a gem bag. And this is one of those I do not know what the heck it is type of rocks. Another rock I believe I got from a gem bag somewhere. Pretty cool stuff. Besides being one of the better rocks, this is also one of my favorites. So we can get some better lighting on there. This might be moss agate, but I'm really not too sure. I think chances are it is. First I thought this was banded iron formation, but I'm not too sure about that. And next we have Royal Imperial Jasper. We've seen some before. And then some of these could very well have gone into one like the best, but you know, little imperfections, a little slight scratch there. They're really sharp looking rocks. You got this like white going on, you got a brown stripe there, and then you got this like, I don't even know what kind of grayish blue thing. Really neat. Now this one did not make it among the ones that tumbled the best, but definitely one of my favorites. And just the pattern in there is just awesome. Now I could have tried to avoid this by, maybe cutting this rock, this way or that way or something like that, but I really wanted to maintain this image right here. So I didn't do that. I believe this next thing is a Swazi agate. Kind of like has this like orange brown husk. And then you got this like purple part. Not sure what this is, but I just thought, wow, the colors in there are just awesome. This is green tree agate, but not the green tree stuff that I showed you earlier. See, this is the green tree that I showed you earlier, the one on the left here. Not the same stuff. This green tree comes from India. Show you up against the light here, but it's see-through. You can see through it a little bit, especially on this piece. This has a lot of transparency. I mean, you can see my fingers through that, but that is an incredible looking rock. I do not remember what this is called, but I just really love that pattern. Little squigglies in there. I got this agate from a place called Get Picking. It's a place in Cloquet, Minnesota, where you basically go there and they have all these piles of rocks that they, just got out of a gravel pit, and apparently they come from like really, really deep too. And this business basically buys these rocks from these people and throws them all in the yard in big piles, and you can go pick through them. Here's another one I got from that Get Picking place. See, it looks all ordinary till you go over here, and amethyst. A little banding around there. I love that. This one is just so cool. I love that combination. This I got from a rock shop in Princeton, Minnesota, called Rocks and Things. This is bubblegum agate. Just really like those patterns in there. Now I don't know what this is. I thought it was quartz at first, but it just does not have a quartz feel. I don't know where I got this from. It must have been from one of those gem bags that they got online. It's really cool. This is one of those, I'm not sure what it is, rocks, but I made it one of my favorites. This guy's not too like smooth or anything. I mean, it's not super shiny, but I like it because it has the fossil in there. Now, maybe one of you in the comments section, if you're from Michigan, you can tell me what that is, because I have no idea. Here's another one of my favorite pieces of moss agate, and I like it because it has these stripes in there. Other than that, it's pretty much unremarkable. I just like the stripes. Now, I think this is another piece of bubblegum agate, but I'm not 100% for sure because it also looks like a possibly, I don't think it's moss agate. I think it's the bubblegum agate. This is the biggest rock I tumbled, also my favorite. This is a nice big piece of epidote from the UP. So this one right here came from Lake Superior. I forgot if I got this from Minnesota or the Upper Peninsula. But it, has these little like holes and pits here and there, but the color in this is just amazing. And lastly, from the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, we got this red thing. And I wish I was able to locate it, but there's actually a piece of copper embedded in here somewhere. And you kind of almost have to look for it with a magnifying glass or something. Well, I thought it was pretty cool. It's like, oh yeah, look, I found copper. Anyways, I hope this finds you all well, and you have a great rest of your day, rest of your weekend, wherever you happen to be when you're watching this video. You have a good one.